Life is happening for you, not to you. Listen in to the Unshakeable Living Show with Coach Lysa for your personal reminder that you are perfectly designed just the way you are. Gain tools, insights, and encouragement to move you forward on your journey. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so get into action now with Lysa and let Him do the rest. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today is Wednesday, October 12th. I can't believe we're in the middle of October already. And so, again, interesting conversation for us to have today. The title of today's show is Grit, Grace, and Determination. Make a decision already. And so we're going to talk through internal and external decisions, how to use grit, grace, and determination to accomplish those things. And then we're also going to talk through a process. And so I'll mention it a little bit later, but I'll mention up front here too. I'm going to have a PDF handout to give away tonight on how to make both internal and external decisions. So if you're interested in getting that PDF, just email me at coachlysa@lysabeltz.com. And again, it's COACHLYSA@LYSABELTZ.com. So Lysa with a Y, but Lysa with a WHY as well. And so as I was preparing for the movie tonight, the old Western True Grit with John Wayne, the John Wayne version came to mind, talking about grit, grace, and determination. And so in honor of that, you may hear a few references to old Western movies and Western themes tonight. And any of you that are listening outside of the United States that may or may not be familiar with the old US Westerns, I'll kind of try and explain and make sure that the reference makes sense to everybody. So I have a question for you tonight. How many times have you made a decision, a final decision, really, and then you waffled? You changed your mind, changed it again, and changed it back. You know what you want, but it will cause trouble with the in-laws or your best friend. You wager in your own thoughts, weigh the pros and cons, and you still go with what you know is not the right thing. It's the easy thing. We all do this. We do it to keep the peace. We do it out of self-protection. We do it for a lot of different reasons. And tonight we're going to talk about making a decision. Making a decision is all about the energy and the commitment within yourself. So the Latin word that is the root of decision means to cut off all escape routes. And so going with our country Western theme or old Western theme, you're in a box canyon in the Badlands of New Mexico. You're riding down this canyon and you don't know if there's going to be an Indian attack ahead, or if there's going to be outlaws or whatever that is. And all of a sudden, cue the dramatic music, there's a major rock slide behind you, and your only path is forward. That's what it means to decide. It is to cut off all escape routes from behind you. And so whether you're launching a business, you're determining to lose weight or get healthy, hit the gym consistently, or in some cases, leaving an abusive relationship, you must set your intention and decide this is what you're doing. And so today we're going to look at the root of getting to that decision and staying authentic, staying in your truth while doing so. And it takes grit, grace, and determination, but we can do it. And so for just a second, let's talk about what grit is. So grit is the thing in the oyster that causes the pearl, but that's really not the definition we're looking at tonight. But there's an application for that too. Grit is the courage and resolve. It is the strength of your character. It is deciding that whether it's hard or easy, challenging, whatever it is, you're going to keep moving forward. Grace is the unmerited favor of God. But grace is also that extra period that you get for paying a bill or paying off something that you owe. And that's really the context of grace that we're going to use tonight. We're going to talk about giving ourselves grace in the process of learning to make decisions. And then determination is a firmness of purpose, a resoluteness. It is being resolved. Again, that determination, resolved that no matter what, you're going to move forward. So the two types of decisions we're going to talk about tonight are internal decisions and external decisions. Internal decisions are things that you are doing for you. You're primarily in control of it. Think about goal setting or some decision that you have control over. Could be, again, health related, nutrition, eating, working out. For your business, it could be setting financial goals or other milestones. The important thing here is that there is a process and that process works for you. And so if you happen to be thinking about this or taking notes, the 4 steps that we're going to look at is a thought generates a belief, generates an action, generates a result. And so there's a quote by a guy named Napoleon Hill, who was an author that wrote several books back in the late 30s and 40s. And he talks about, in the context of thinking about a thought, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire. So your thought is a thing. We don't tend to think of thoughts as being a tangible thing. It's kind of ethereal, but our thoughts carry energy and emotion with them. When we think positive thoughts, we generate positive energy. And the reverse is true as well. Our thoughts then generate beliefs, what we genuinely think is possible or not. And as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So again, we're going to think positive thoughts. That positive thought is going to generate a positive belief. And our beliefs are carried within us and with us and are often so familiar we don't even realize they're there. We get our belief systems from our families, our religious background, our culture, our job, any type of reading that we do. Our beliefs develop over time, but the majority of our beliefs that are so intrinsic to us are developed between the ages of 0 to 7. And it's really easy for us as children to interpret things incorrectly. And we end up with this belief that maybe as a child, from a child's perspective, was true, but as an adult doesn't serve you any longer. And so one of the best examples that I've ever heard of this is if you have a limiting belief, such as everyone in my family is overweight, it's just in our DNA, I'm kind of just stuck with it. That's a limiting belief, but it's not truth. The best news is you can let go of those limits and replace them with truth. Saying something like, I can attain and maintain my ideal weight, shape, and size. That is a truth that opens doors. So again, we're going thoughts, beliefs, actions. So beyond our belief, in order to achieve anything, we have to take action. And that action can be small or big as long as it's forwards. Going back to our true grit references tonight, to quote Rooster Cogburn, looking back is a bad habit. Learn from your past, but don't live there. And so taking small actions can be critical to getting us started. Do you want to write a book or an article, for example? The best way to begin is just to start. Open a document on your computer or pull out a blank piece of paper and put today's date on it. If you're stuck, begin by writing song lyrics or a nursery rhyme, anything that gets that barrier pulled down and gets you to start flowing. Follow the process. And you can use that same approach regardless of what you're kicking off. Find a way to do one thing today and then celebrate. If you have a goal to go on an eating plan, list out the 5 things that you're going to eat on a consistent basis, as well as making a list of the things that you're not going to eat. And again, we're going to make a decision that we're going to stick to those things. So do one thing today, even if it's a small thing. If you could do bigger and more, that's good too. A result is not a completed book. We're going to celebrate our steps as we go. A result is every written sentence, paragraph, page, and chapter. If you wait to the end to recognize yourself, it's really easy to get discouraged along the way. Now, that doesn't mean that if you write a sentence, you go spend $100 on new clothes. Celebrate in appropriate ways. It may be that when you finish writing a chapter, you get a cup of coffee, or you get to go outside and go for a walk, or you do something fun. Just make sure that you're acknowledging yourself. So again, let's go back to grit, grace, and determination. Another true grit quote. Maddie Ross is the girl in the story whose father was killed, and she's trying to hire Sheriff Rooster Cogburn. And so she said, "They told me you had true grit, and that is why I came to you. I am not paying you to talk." She wanted results. So unless you're a podcast host or on a TV show, we don't want just talk. Allow yourself to be unapologetically, genuinely, and 1000% authentically you. And so God's been talking to me about facades, the layers we put on to protect ourselves and make ourselves appear acceptable. Being very blunt, those layers are lies. I've hidden behind them for much of my adult life, but God's been stripping them off for me for over 10 years. I have built up a lot of protecting layers to hide shame and self-judgment. Praise God, those things are gone now. I'm finally at a stage where I can make a decision based on who I am, really, and what I want, really, and I'm moving forward at a faster pace than ever. And so these internal decisions that I'm encouraging you to make, again, look at your thoughts, look at your belief systems, lay out some actions, and then watch for your results and celebrate. And so we're going to take just a really quick break. And when we come back, we're going to look at external decisions and how those differ. Be right back. And welcome back. This is Coach Lysa, and we're talking about grit, grace, and determination in making decisions. So we've just been talking about making internal decisions, those decisions that you make for you, either goal setting for yourself or goal setting for a business, something that you have control over. And now we're going to contrast that just a little bit to what I call external decisions. And so, that dance that you play with someone you know well, whether it's your best friend, a close sibling, your significant other, your teammates at work, using a kind of a cliche example, it's the food conversation. Well, where do you want to eat today? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, how about Jimmy John's? Well, no, I want something hot today, but not a hamburger. And the back and forth follows this normal pattern until someone, usually you, gives in and agrees to whatever is suggested just to get a damn decision made. It's taking the easy way out, but it might be compromising your authenticity. So here's the thing. If you honestly, genuinely don't care where you eat, you're probably okay. But if you caved, and there's even a hint of grumbling or negative emotion, you've set yourself up yet again and lost esteem in your own eyes. That's what we want to change. So in this external decision-making process, when you're in that dance with someone, you just Stop playing the game. And there's hundreds of scenarios where this comes up over and over and over. You know, with the holiday season coming up, there's always a lot of family drama. But I don't want your brother-in-law to come to our house for Thanksgiving this year. He always comes drunk and creates a scene or some version of that. So what do you do? How do you stand up for your desire and represent what you want? Grit, grace, and determination. The other tool we're going to add in is practicing the pause. So when you and your spouse, and I'm just going to use that as an example, when you go through the, well, where do you want to eat? Well, where do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. Just stop. Practice the pause. Think of it as just stepping back, because you think about being on the dance floor with somebody, when one partner just stops and drops their hands, the other person can keep dancing, but you're not engaged anymore. And so if you and your sparring partner start into the dance, you're not obligated to play the game by the default rules. And so, like, my husband and I have been married 35 years. And so we have some of these dances that we play, and we've done them for 35 years or longer. And so you have to be aware of the dance, and then you practice the pause and you step back and you go, you know what? This isn't productive. Let's think about a different way to do this. You are empowered to change the rules. Yes, you may ruffle some feathers and you may get that look of, what is wrong with you? But you owe it to yourself and to those you love the most to be honest and authentic. Is it always easy? No. The first time you change it up is the hardest. And just like many other things, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And you may have to just blurt it out and then sort it out. Thought, belief, action, results. And so the thought is, if I don't play along and follow our normal routine, what is somebody else going to think? And the belief is that as the wife, the mom, the whatever, if I don't go along, you know, it's my job to just kind of smooth things over and make everybody happy. Again, that is a lie. It is not your job to make everybody happy. It is not your job to fill in all the blanks and take on all of the responsibility. You got to get to the root of what that belief system is. The action is either stopping playing the game or also speaking up and saying, you know, what I really want for dinner is this. And that generates the result that you're looking for, which is you being authentic and honest. It is you getting what you really want. And sure, there are times when there's going to be give and take in relationships, and you're going to agree to where they want to go this time. As long as you're not doing it every time and you're not giving in just to keep the peace or to smooth things over. So I got one more Maddie Ross quote. I've never been one to flinch or crawfish when faced with an unpleasant task. So it can be an unpleasant task to stand up to somebody and stop the dance. But in the long run, being honest and authentic with yourself first and with the people around you second is going to deliver less and less compromise. It's going to make you feel better from the inside out. And honestly, the people around you are going to feel better when you feel better. It's the old, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So another example, and again, it must be a movie theme today. In the movie The Runaway Bride, and there is a horse in that movie, so it fits with the Western theme. Maggie had to go off by herself and try a bunch of different egg dishes to figure out what she really liked. And if you haven't watched the movie, kind of either go watch some of the trailers or catch it on a replay. It's really good. You may need to go off by yourself and do some thinking and calculating to figure out what you really want. Please honor yourself enough to do this. So here's a truth bomb. Don't the people that you care about the most deserve your truth? I'm going to say that one again. Don't the people you care about the most deserve your truth. When you compromise yourself to please others, everyone loses. My call to action to you today is to begin the journey of becoming authentic. This must happen for you to make good decisions, both for yourself, but also for the people around you. When you are truthful, it opens the doors for others to follow suit. And so again, in our scenario, and again, I know it's really cliche, but it works pretty well. You know, when you're talking to your spouse about where you want to go for dinner, or even what to fix at home for dinner, there's so much more to it than just that conversation. It becomes a pattern. It becomes a belief. It becomes you compromising or not compromising. And you're setting up a pattern that's either going to serve you or remove from you for the rest of your life. And if you're like us, you've been together 35 years and you've been doing this dance off and on for 35 years, you're probably not going to completely undo it and change it overnight. So again, that's where we're going to give ourselves grace as we learn this new skill. We're going to practice the pause. And part of that practicing the pause is to give yourself time to think about, what do I really want? Because when you're so used to just going along, you brainlessly and mindlessly just agree. You may be like Maggie in The Runaway Bride and have to take a breath and step back for a second and go, what do I really want? Then once you figure that out, you need to take that courageous step and speak up and say, this is what I want. So grace is that extra period of time allowed for payment. When you give yourself grace, when you start something new, it removes that need for perfection and always having to get it right the first time and every time. So we just speak grace, grace, grace on both internal and external decisions. And again, one more time, thoughts become beliefs, become actions, become results. So I want to stop right here and just talk a little bit about me as a coach and how I play in this space. And so without the coaches that I've had in my life, I would not have found a lot of my limiting beliefs to be able to unbundle them and go, this one I want to keep, these 5 need to go because they're not serving me anymore. And some of my limiting beliefs came out of family, some of them came out of church, some of them came out of my corporate culture that I kind of grew up in. But until you take some time and look at those things and examine them, and a lot of times you can't do it on your own because they can't see the forest for the trees concept. That's where having a coach can be so powerful. And so again, I'm going to offer a free 30-minute consultation, which is truly a coaching session, to anyone who's interested. If you want to email me at coachlysa@lysabeltz.com, you can request the PDF that's going to remind you of the internal and external processes, but I will also schedule a free 30-minute coaching session for you. And it is no obligation. I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to call you all the time. So please take the opportunity to reach out to me. I hope you all have a really great evening and enjoy the rest of the month of October. It's fall, y'all. Talk to you next time. Good night.
You've been listening to the Unshakeable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable with Lysa Beltz. Tune in twice a month for your well-deserved dose of positive energy and your personal reminder that you are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. Find your true calling and influence the world around you for the better with your profound gifts. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so step on the gas now with Lysa and let Him do the rest.